Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this video tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be creating a WordPress web page from scratch using the Elementor page builder as well as Booster add-ons. If you head to Booster add-ons and go to templates, you can find a list of all our templates. These templates can be directly imported into your WordPress site using the demo importer, but in this tutorial we'll be creating a template from scratch just to see how you can use the Elementor web page builder as well as some Booster add-ons widgets. Let's take a look at this page. The page uses purple and white as the main colors, as well as some peach colors for the buttons and pricing area. This video will be divided into 5 sections all in one video, so if you want to head straight for a section to see how it's created, you can simply use the timestamp from YouTube. The first section is going to be this purple area with the hero image. The second section will start with this slider, contain these icon boxes as well as this social widget. The third section is going to be another purple section. The fourth section is about team members, and the fifth and final section will be about the pricing area and the testimonial. Now, before I start with the design with the page, I just want to go through a couple of things. First, if you have a default theme and you don't want to use the default heading here, you can simply go to settings and go to page layout and use Elementor canvas, and you have a page from scratch. Now I don't need to use it because I have already done the proper settings on my theme. The second thing is about the font. This template uses Nonito as its main font. In my theme I have already set up Nonito as the main theme font, but if you want to use it for this page, you can simply go to global styling and go to default fonts, and here you can set Nonito in all the corresponding areas. Alright, the third thing that I want to talk about is that I have already set up a file using and saving the different colors that we need for this page, so we don't waste time trying to pick the right color for the right section. The last thing I want to talk about is that I use a clipboard manager. This is simply a history of the things that you copied, and you can use it to paste anything you want from the listed history. This clipboard manager is called Ditto. It's on Windows. It's something that's very useful when it comes to anything that requires a lot of copy pasting. Now that we're done with this long introduction, let's start right away. You can add a section using drag and drop, or simply click on the plus icon here and select a structure for your section. Let's stretch the section as well as set a height to fit to screen. Now let's go to style, background, and let's copy the colors from our colors.txt. Go back to the section and we'll use a gradient. Let's copy the first color as well as the second color. Now we are going to change the type to radial, so we have this radial effect. And we are also going to add this shape effect at the bottom. So let's go to stay on style tab and go to shape divider, bottom, and we are going to use waves. Now we are also going to increase the width to maximum and the height to 500, and here we want the opposite effect, so we'll use the flip feature. Now that we are done with the background, let's add a new color to this section and add an intersection inside the first column. Let's add an advanced heading. And let's head back to the page and copy the text to save some time. Let's go to short text and copy the short text and do the same for the title. Now let's head to style and start with the title styling. Let's first change the color to white. And let's change the line height to, let's say, 1.1 and increase the font size just a bit bigger, as well as reduce the font weight to 700. Now let's change the short text styling. Let's start with the color. Then the typography settings, we are going to set the size of, let's say, 18, and as well as a line height of 1.8. Then we'll create a margin top 40, or let's say 41. Great. Now let's add another inner section under this section, and let's go ahead and add our first advanced button. Let's change the text to purchase booster now. And let's start with the styling. Let's increase the width, let's say 220, and as well as reduce the font size and increase the font weight. Now let's head to button styling, and we'll go back to our file and copy the button colors. We're going to use a gradient. Let's change the first color and the second color, like so. Now we are going to increase the angle a bit, as well as change the location for the first color to, let's say, 18. And the last thing we are going to do is to change the border radius, like so. Now let's head back to content and simply align the button. Now let's just copy this button and paste it here so we have the same typography settings. Let's go to style and first remove the background. The text here is watch demo, so we'll also change the text. Great. And we will add an icon. The icon used here is the play icon. Simply look for play and choose the icon. Let's also align the text to the left. Now let's head to style again, and we'll reduce the button width to, let's say, 170, just to do things the correct way. And we'll go to button styling. I'm not going to change anything here, so we'll leave it as default. And we'll go to icon styling, go back to our file and pick the icon color. We'll change the icon color and we'll enable the advanced icon styling. We'll leave the background as white. We'll simply change the border radius to 50 again to get a round shape, and we'll reduce the background size a bit, as well as increase the icon size. Now the only thing left to do is to reduce the space between these two buttons, and to do so we'll head to the first column and do edit column, and we'll set a manual width to, let's say, 44. Now that we are done with the left side, let's start working on the right side. Let's add the basic image widget from Elementor. And let's choose our image. We'll use a full image size. And we want to align these two sections, so we'll go to the bigger section, go to layout, and simply go to vertical align and choose middle. And I want to further control the position of the image, so I'm going to go to image advanced, delink the margin values, and make the image a bit closer to the left using a negative left margin value, as well as a negative margin top value to set it a bit closer to the top. Now that we are done with the first section, let us add another section here. We'll use one column and we'll stretch the section again. We'll go to advanced, delink the values, and we'll add a margin top to separate it from the top side. Now let's go back and look for the carousel, image carousel from Elementor, and simply add it. Let's select our images, and here I am going to simply use the shift key to select a list of successive images, like so. Insert a new gallery, and it's done. Image size again, we'll use the full image size. Slides to 7. Slides to scroll 7, so when the user scrolls, it scrolls all the 7 images at the same time. Let's remove the navigation and let's head to additional options and deactivate the autoplay feature. Alright, now let's add a new section under this one. One column again, stretch the section, and we'll add a divider. This is simply used to add some style. We are going to change the weight from percentage to pixels, and we'll set an 89 pixel weight. Let's align it to center. Let's go to style and let's add some weight just to make it stand out a bit more. Now let's head to our file and copy the divider color. Great. Now let's go back to the section and add some padding to the top to separate the divider from the top side of this section. Let's delink the values and simply set a padding top to 55. Let's go ahead and add another intersection. We'll put it under the divider, and I'll delete this column for now. And let's add another advanced heading. Let's go to our page and simply copy the text again and change the title. Let's go to style, typography, and let's fix the line height again. Reduce the font weight a bit and also reduce the size a bit. Now the only thing left to do is go to the alignment and center it. Now here I want to create some space on both the left and right side. There's different ways to do it. You can use margins, you can use paddings, but what I want to do is to add 2 columns like so, and I'll put the content to the middle, and I'll set manual column width to 5% for both of them. Now why I chose this approach is that this is the most responsive friendly approach. This is gonna look pretty much the same on any device just because of how Elementor works, and from my experience this is the best way to create empty space on a page from both sides and to have it show on all devices the correct way. Now that we are done with this part, let's add another section. So actually use this, and we'll use 3 columns. Let's go to Advanced, delink the values, and add a margin top of 90. Let's also stretch the section. And here I will add an intersection inside the first column. The reason I'm adding this intersection is that I want to use a shape divider, but in Elementor you cannot use a shape divider on a column, so I'll use an intersection and make use of the shape divider. But before we do that, I want to add an icon box, Booster Addons icon box, and we'll start with the font and layout. First of all, I am going to remove the subheading. Then I'll go to Layout, Alignment, and set it to left. Then I'll go to Style and change the icon size to 60, as well as reduce the background size to fit the icon. I'm also going to add more margins on the bottom to create some space. Then I'll go to Title Styling, Typography, and increase the line height a bit, and do the same for the short text styling. Let's add just a little bit more font weight and more line height. Now let's head to content distances. We'll add more margin bottom and remove the margin top. We don't need a subheading margin too. That's it. Now the only thing left to do is we are going to go to the intersection, Advanced, and we'll add some padding. Let's go 60, delink the values, and we'll use 30 here for both the left and right side, and just reduce a bit the padding bottom. Now that we have the layout set up, I'm just going to copy this section, paste it here, and paste it again here. And now we have the same layout on the 3 sections. Now I'm going to go back to this section to add a shape divider. But before doing that, we'll change the background. So let's go back to our file again, and we'll simply copy these 2 colors. Go back, we'll use gradient. Let's copy the first color and the second color, and we'll change the angle to 360. Great. Now let's go to our shape divider. We want to use the shape at the top, and this time we'll go with mountains. Let's increase the width, say 271, and the height to say 40-ish. Let's go with 42. Great. Now for the color, we'll select white, and we'll simply use something very light. So we slide it all the way to the left, then simply just add this kind of shade. Now the only thing left is to change the icon and change the colors. So let's start with the colors first. Icon color white, title white, and short text to white. Now for the icon, we'll use the stack icon. Let's go back and copy the text from the template, like so. Let's close this, and that's it. Ooh, made a mistake. I should copy the text, not the short text. Now we are going to move to the next icon box. Let's start with the style. Let's go ahead and copy the icon color here, paste it, and we'll go to title, color, and change the color here too. This is actually a dark bluish color, and let's copy this color so we can use it later. Now we also have to remove the hover, and we'll go to content and finally change the icon. It's going to be devices, and let's go back and copy the text. It's actually the same text, short text, but just to make sure, let's copy this one and copy this one. Great. Now let's move to the next icon. Again, I am going to go back to my file and pick the icon color, icon style, icon color, and paste it. And go back to hover and choose none, title style, color, and we'll use this same color to just select it. Again, go back, and here it's going to be a middle. If I remember correctly, I think it's this one. And go back to the page and simply copy this one. We won't copy the other one because we still have it in our clipboard. So I'll just go here and I'll look for it. And let's hit update because we forgot to do it, and we need to make sure to save our content. And this pretty much finishes this section. I mean, this first area of the section. We're going to head and create this other section with the social share. One thing that I forgot to add here before moving to the next section is that if we go to the page, you can see some shadows around these two icon boxes. So let's actually add those. These shadows are actually done not on the icon box but on the intersection. So let's go to style, border, box shadow. Let's set vertical shadow, and also add a lot of blur. That's a bit too much, so let's do 60. And for the color, we'll go with blue. Let's use this blue and make it very, very light. Something like this. Now let's simply copy and paste the style here. And here we can see the shadows around the two icon boxes. Now, one more thing that I want to do is go to the big section and add some padding to the bottom. So let's delink the values and add a value of 70 padding to the bottom. Now let's move to the next section. We are going to have two columns. Stretch the section. And here, instead of using two images like so, first one and second one, We are going to switch it up a bit and use a widget called layered images. Now this widget essentially allows you to create animations using multiple images in a very simple way. So let's go ahead and start adding our images, and you'll have a link to a video tutorial that would go deep into details around this widget. So let's upload our first image, and we'll use a fade in down like so, and we'll keep the default settings. Now let's add a second image. We'll do a fade in left, and we'll do a delay of 1.7. Then the last item is going to be a mouse. We'll do a fade in right and a delay of 2.2 seconds. Now let's hit update, and let's take a look at the preview. Scroll down, and here we can see this simple animation. Let's go back and add some padding again. We'll do another 70 top, and we'll create even more space at the bottom. Let's do 160. Hit update, and let's have a better look with a little more space. Great. Now we are going to work on the second section. We'll need another advanced heading. Let's go back and copy the text again. And let's go ahead and copy this advanced heading style, so we have pretty much the same heading. Let's align it to the left, go to style, typography, reduce the typography a little bit, as well as the line height. Now let's go to short text. Typography will make it a bit bigger, and we'll add some line height around 2. Now the only thing left to do is change the color, and here we'll use a dark gray like so, and we'll add some margins to the top. Let's do 45, and let's hit update. One thing that I forgot again is to use the same color for the heading here. So let's copy this color and simply paste it for this heading, and do the same for this one. Color and paste it. That's it. Now let's go ahead and add our social find us widget. Let's go ahead and add more social sites. Let's go with drip. Nice. I think this is such a big gap, so I'm going to reduce the margins for the short text and just a little bit more distance between the social and the advanced heading. So layout, we are going to keep the same. We're only going to remove the margins. Let's go to style, Let's reduce the icon size a bit, as well as the icon background size. Now let's go ahead and remove the default color scheme, and we'll use white for the colors, and for the background we'll use this same color, and we'll remove the border radius, set it to 0, and here we are going to align it to the left. Now what's left to do is change the hover effect, so let's go to hover. Let's remove the border radius again, so we have a square shape. And now let's change the hover effect to 3D rotate top to match the template page, and that's it. So let's hit update again. Now here I still want to create some space between these two sections, so let's try to use the column trick again. Now if I add a column here and I simply set a manual width, you can see that it's taking space on the left side, and if I want to fix that I have to play with the right side column and the middle and try to get a good width value to suit my needs. Instead of doing that, I'm going to delete this column, add an inner section, and simply transfer the content to this section, and go ahead and use this column to create the space. And now as you can see, the left side is left unchanged, and this makes it very easy for me to set up a space on the left side, or I mean on the right side. Now let's go back to the page, and we are going to start to work on this purple area. Let's go ahead and add a new section, one column, and since we have the same background, we go ahead and copy this section style. Keep in mind that when you copy a section style, you copy the margin, padding, shape divider, and all the other options. Go ahead and do paste style here, and we'll keep the height to fit the screen for now. Let's go to style, shape divider, and change the shape divider at the bottom, just make it a bit smoother. And here we can see that we have some mountains at the top of this section. Let's go ahead and add a shape divider at the top, choose the mountains, and we'll do a width of, let's say, 171, and a height of, let's go ahead and go with 412. We'll choose the color black, and we'll just squeeze the slider to the left like so. Maybe just a bit more. That's great. Now let's go ahead and add an intersection. Delete this column, and let's go ahead and add an advanced heading. Again, we can make use of the copy style feature, so let's copy the style of this heading and paste it here. Now let's go ahead to the page and copy the text. To save time, simply paste it using our clipboard manager, like so. Now let's go to style and start working on the style. Let's change the color to white. Typography, let's reduce the title just a little bit, as well as the line height. Then head to short text. Let's use white again. Typography, and we'll increase the size. Let's also choose a weight of 500. and increase the line height to create some space between the lines. And finally add some margin top to separate the text from the title. Now let's go ahead and add 2 columns again to center our content, and we'll use a width of 14%. Great. And one more thing is that I'll go to the bigger section and go to content width. I use full width, so the width here is taking full space of the section. Now let's go ahead and add another inner section. We'll have 3 columns, so let's add 1. And let's add our icon box. For the content, we won't have a subheading, so let's straight delete that. And we'll go to layout, change the layout to icon left side, so we get this left side icon layout. Now let's head to style, and let's first change the colors for the text so we can see the layout more correctly. And let's start working on the icon. So let's reduce the icon size a bit. And let's change the background color. And we'll use this color that we used earlier in this background. And let's reduce the background size. Something like this, and change the background radius. Then go to icon area margins and create some spaces around the icon as well as to the left. Now we have good distances. Let's go to title styling, typography. Just increase the size a bit. Let's keep it at 19. And we'll go to short text styling. Typography, let's keep the same size, add some font weight, as well as just a bit of line height. Now let's go to content distances, create some margins at the top, as well as margins at the bottom of the heading to separate it from the text. And now the last thing to do is to create a hover effect. So let's go to hover. Let's keep fade as the hover effect. And we are simply going to switch the colors. So here we'll use white for the background. And for the icon color, we'll use this color. And now we have this smooth hover effect. Now the only thing left to do is to copy the text and change the icons. And this is really a matter of just going here, paste in the text and choosing the right icon. So I am going to skip this part and head straight for the end result. So this is the end result after copying, pasting all the content. So now let's go ahead and go back to the intersection and remove the fit to screen back to default. And now we are able to control the space manually. So let's add some paddings. Let's go ahead and go to padding's bottom here, delink the values, and let's add some padding at the bottom. Let's go with 68, and let's go to the intersection, delink the values again, create some space between the 2 sections, as well as add some padding top. Should be enough. And the last thing is to go to this section and delink the values again and add some padding at the bottom to create more space. Let's go with something bigger. Let's go with 152 or 155. Yep, that's perfect. Now that we are done with this section, I'm going to move ahead and create this one with the team members. These team members have pretty much the same style, so we'll create one and again copy and paste it. Now let's go ahead and copy this section because we have pretty much the same layout. We also use a divider, so I'm simply going to paste it here, and here I'll go ahead and add some paddings at the bottom to create more space. And we'll go back and copy this text and paste it here, and we'll use the columns to center it in the middle again. And we can go ahead and change the typography and make it just a bit bigger. Let's also reduce the line height just a bit. And yeah, let's go ahead and add a new section. Now let's delete this inner section and let's add 2 columns here. Let's also go ahead and stretch the section and add some margin at the top to create some space between this section and the other. And let's go ahead and add our team member. Style would use the style 7. Let's just go ahead and change the image first. And we'll go ahead here and change the overlay color. Go to style and we'll change the about text color to white, like this. Then we'll go to social styling. Let's increase the icon size and icon background size just a bit. Then we'll go ahead and disable the default color scheme for the normal effect or normal state. Then we'll choose white for the color. And let's also go ahead and change the hover effect. Let's use Tada, for example. Great. Let's also add some margins on both sides. Perfect. Let's go back to typography and the auto name we'll use bold just to have something a bit bolder, and we'll increase the size just a little bit. Let's go ahead and copy paste this layout and simply change the images. Like so. And all we have to do now is to copy this. So let's go with copying this area. Let's go ahead, paste this, and we'll paste founder, then Patrick Chain. And this is pretty much it for this section. Hope I didn't forget anything. So we are going to move to the next section, which is the pricing area. So let's add a new section. We'll have 2 columns. Stretch the section. Let's start by adding some padding to the top. Let's go with 100 just to create some space. Then we'll go ahead and start with this left side. And since we're using the same layout, we're going to copy this advanced heading and simply paste it here, like so. Then we'll head and copy the text again using our clipboard manager. Go ahead and paste both of them. And we are going to add the same button that we're using here. So let's copy this one and paste it under our advanced heading. Let's change the text to Purchase Now. Let's go to Style and let's reduce the width, let's say to 170. And we're pretty much having the same layout. So now that we are done with the left side, let's hit Update. And let's go ahead and add an intersection inside the right column. We'll have 2 columns, so we keep those. Let's go ahead and look for the price box widget and simply drag it here. You can see that this is not taking as much space as we want, so we'll go ahead here and define a column width. Let's go with 58. I think that should be fine. And let's start working on the content. So here we want to be using a ribbon section. So let's remove it entirely. And let's change the text. Here we'll be using diamond. Price, it's going to be the same. Content, we'll remove the bottom 2 because we only have 4 elements. And for the button, we'll have another text. Choose today. And that's it for the content. Now we are going to remove the default styling for the price box. So we'll head to Advanced and we'll remove the hidden area specific background. And we'll do the same for the price area. And we also will remove the shape style here and set it to none. Now that we have a uniform color for the background, let's go ahead and go to background and change it. We'll use a gradient and we'll head back to our file and copy the colors that we used in the first section. Like so. And we'll change it to radial, and that's pretty much it. Now let's go back to style and we'll start working on the text color. Let's go to content, typography, we'll keep it the same. Text color, we'll use white. And we'll go ahead and change the button typography to, let's increase the size just by 1 pixel and add some font weight. Now for the styling, we'll have a border radius of 50, and for the colors we'll use the same as this button. So we'll go ahead again and copy the colors that we used in the first button, go back, use gradient, copy the first color and the second color, and we'll change the angle to 260, as well as add more room for the first color. For the hover, let's we won't be using a hover for now, so let's change it later. We'll change it later. We'll do some minor adjustments at the end of the video. The only thing left to do is to add some distance here, so we'll go to Advanced, Price Area, and we'll add some padding at the bottom. I should have delinked the values here. So let's reset and simply add some padding at the bottom, like so. And that's pretty much it. Now we are going to copy this same price box and simply paste it here. And we'll work on this one. So let's go ahead and change the heading text. It's going to be platinum here. And we will have a different price. This is going to be 55. And the original price is going to be, let's say, 66. And that's it. Now we will have to change the background and the button. So again, let's go to Advanced and Background. And we'll use the colors for the button here. So we'll simply use this one here. And this one here. And this is going to be a linear. And that's pretty much it. We won't change anything here. So let's go to Style, Button, and here it's going to be single color and it's going to be white. And for the text color, we'll use this one. Now the only thing left to do is to set up this space at the top of the right side price box, as well as align everything. So first off, I want to align the left side column content with the right side content. So I'll go ahead here and use the vertical align middle, like so. And here I'll add the space at the top and bottom before starting to align these two price boxes. So I'll go ahead and go to Advanced and Advanced again, delink the values, and we'll add 30 padding for both the top and bottom. Then I'll go to this inner section and again vertical align, set it to middle. And in order to remove the gap between these two price boxes, I'll go to columns gap and set it to no gap. And this pretty much creates the same layout that we have here. You can also notice that we have a shadow on the right side, so we are going to add that. So we'll select this price box and we'll go to Advanced, Border, Box Shadow, and we'll have a vertical shadow, and we'll increase the blur by a lot, and the spread just to make it very shallow. For the color, we'll just use something a bit darker to give it more appearance. Let's go like this. And that's pretty much it. I think we're done with this section. So we'll go ahead and add the last thing in this page, which is the testimonial. So we'll add a new section. We'll use one column for now. Stretch it again. Go ahead and add some padding top. Let's go with 50. We still have to add padding to this section. We'll do it after finishing with the testimonial. And we'll look for testimonial slider and simply drag it here. And here the first thing I want to change is to make the testimonial slider show only one testimonial at a time, like here. So I'll go ahead and go to Settings, and here we have the controls for the different devices. I'll use one for both tablet and desktop, and for phone it's by default set to 1. So now I'll go to Style, and here we'll make the text bigger, and we'll be using the color that we used in the title here. So let's go ahead and copy this one, simply paste it here. Icon styling, will increase the icon size and change it to number 4. And for the color, we'll be using a gradient. So we are going to use this one. The purple gradient that we used multiple times, and we'll set it to bottom left. Let's just adjust the position just a bit. Now the only thing left to do is to create some space on both the right and left side. So we'll add columns. Again, drag testimonial to the middle and simply set a manual width. Again, you can still use paddings or margins, but I prefer this method. And that's pretty much it. Now what's left to do is some minor adjustments. We still want to add this shape divider that you can see on the background. I also want to add some button hover effects. We need to create some space here, so we'll add some paddings for this section. And we will also add some hover effects for these two buttons. So let's go ahead and do these minor adjustments. Let's start by adding some space at the bottom of this section. Let's add something like 60. And let's start working on the hover effects. Let's copy this color. We'll need it. Let's use a normal fade. Background color white. Text color. We'll paste the color that we just copied. And finally we'll add a border of, let's say, 2 pixels, and we'll use the same color. Also remove or add the border radius to match the button. We'll do some easy hover effects for the price boxes too. Nothing too fancy. We'll just go ahead and use some borders. Let's go with double. Give it like maybe 8 pixels. White. And we'll keep the same border radius again. It's a bit too much, so let's go with 4, and we'll do the same for this one. Style again, hover, border, double, and we'll use 4 pixels again, and we'll copy this color. Remove the background, get the radius back, and use the same color. Just simple hover effects. Alright, we can start working on the background here. So we'll change the background for this size, then for this one. So let's start working in it. So we'll go ahead and change the background. We'll use gradient. First color is going to be white. Second color is going to be a blue. And we'll use something very, very light. Go with something like this, or even more lighter. Great, now let's copy this color and let's go ahead and add our shape divider. It's going to be a waves brush, and we'll set the width and height to maximum, and that's pretty much it. We'll go ahead and do the same here. We forgot to change the color, so let's do that. That's why I was a bit confused on why the shape didn't appear. So let's go ahead and change the background here to gradient white and the color that we just copied, and we'll go ahead and add the same shape divider at the top, which is waves brush. Let's not forget to change the color again, and we'll increase the width and height. That's pretty much it. Now the last thing to do is to change these buttons style, and we'll start with this one. Let's go to style again, button style, and we'll switch up the colors again. So copy this, hover, fade, background color is going to be white, and text color is going to be the color that we just copied. And again, not forget to change the border radius. That's it. Now we'll work on this one. Let's go to style. I'll go to button styling, hover, and choose the effect. We'll use fade again. And here I don't want to use the hover effect on the button itself, but only on the icon and icon background. So here I'll remove the background for the hover and head straight to icon settings. And here I'll copy the icon color again, and I'll simply go to hover. We'll keep the same, actually we'll change the color here, like so. Let's not forget to change the icon color to white, and the last thing I'll do is I'll add a border and set it to white. I actually changed the color here for the normal state. Should have changed it here to white, and that's what I wanted to do. Here you can use double or something like that and increase the width, but we'll go with something simple with solid and a width of 2 pixels. Let's hit update, and let's preview changes to see the end result of the page. This is the layered images in action. We created these hover effects, and this sums up the end of this tutorial. In the description you will find all the different colors used, as well as various links to the documentation of some of the widgets that helped us create this page. You will also find other links that can help you with the learning process of the Elementor page builder. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.